Okay, this is going to be a summary of the meeting held on the 25th of April. We had a few technical difficulties with the link, and so this is, I'm just making it after the fact. Following the last meeting in March, Phil made a start on the list of the different types of tests we might be able to carry out and how we would have to go about them, what equipment we would need. And he also drew a sketch of a trial pit, the shape that we would need to dig if we wanted to expose 2 1 metre deep steps safely. As we discussed in March, the other alternative is to dig 2 1 metre steps into a bank, so we would go in from the side rather than from the top surface. So on Saturday last, Phil and Peter Allen and myself met in Harrowweald Common with Jason Shorrock, who is the head warden of the Old Reading Warden team, and he's the person who will make decisions on the ground on behalf of the council and the conservators. And he was very helpful. Gave us lots of information about pond digging that had happened recently. Unfortunately, there's no more pond digging planned, but he suggested we go and look at the recent spoil heaps to the north on the north side of the common, where we haven't looked before. So one plan is to go and look at that area. As you can see in this picture, Phil is pointing to a promising bank that we could dig into. So we have asked for permission to take a mechanical digger in, and it would be possible to access that spot quite easily, but we haven't got permission for the mechanical digger yet. So we've asked additionally, if that's not possible, whether we can dig that bank by hand, and that would involve recruiting some volunteers, and we've got various ideas of where we might ask for those. We also asked Jason whether it would be possible to take a mechanical rig on site, like the one in this picture, that Phil can use from Brunel. There would be a cost, something like £300 a day. And Jason was quite happy with that one because it would not disturb anything other than a very small hole going directly downwards, and he didn't have any problem with us going down as far as we wanted to with that. So we do have an in-principle agreement to get going and drill some boreholes. We can also start taking bagfuls of sand away, even sackfuls of pebbles, just to let them know where and when and how much. So this is where we start planning. In terms of digging boreholes, Peter Allen and also Di Clements, they've started looking at the borehole data that's already available in the public domain, and there are several to the south of Old Reading, and one of interest very close to our proposed site for digging. And Peter has shared with us the data that's available in the public domain for some of the boreholes very close to our proposed site. This borehole 38 in particular is at one of the sites that we identified that we might dig at. So the next steps will be to have a couple of trips. The first one, as I mentioned, up in this northern area where the ponds have been dug and there are some fresh spoil heaps. We could potentially take some sacks, collect some samples for later analysis, but collect them now while the spoil heaps are fresh. The second trip that we haven't been to look at this area in the west, both north and south of Old Reading, because there's a part of the wood there that sounds quite interesting from what Jason was saying. And if we're having a look at the ponds that have been dug in the west, part of the common here, then we could also on the same trip have a look at the part of the wood on the other side of the road. There's a borehole result also from about this area just to the west of the car park. So those are the first two trips that we should arrange, and now that the spring has come, it might be nice for us to have a walk in the woods. So maybe 2 separate days to meet, and whoever wants to come can come and see the site. Then, of course, the third thing is to find that spot in the bank, which is, I think it's close to this waterfall area here. I think it was just about there that we identified that point in the bank that had a nice 2-meter drop. And the top of that bank actually has a flat surface at the 2-meter higher level. So it does look like potentially that the top of the bank was the original surface. So those are the plans for now. We're going to go ahead and arrange these first 2 walks in the woods and potentially look for setting up volunteers to come and help dig the bank.